Few figures were as sadistic and brutal as Maria Mandel. Known as the Beast of Auschwitz, the feared female SS guard is believed to have been responsible for the deaths of at least 500,000 prisoners during the Second World War. Today, we examine her life, trial, and execution, as well as the wider context of these horrific concentration camps. Curious? Stay with us. Today's story is about to begin. How and when did the Nazis begin establishing concentration camps? Nazi Germany began setting up concentration camps shortly after Hitler was appointed Chancellor in January 1933. Dachau, near Munich, was established in March of that year to hold political prisoners. Other camps soon opened across the country, including Sachsenhausen and Oranienburg. Over time, the purpose of the towns expanded. They held not only political prisoners, but also ethnic and religious minorities deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. Beginning in 1941, with the implementation of the so-called final solution, extermination camps emerged. These included Auschwitz-Birkenau, the largest and best known, as well as Sobibor and Treblinka, where Jews and other persecuted groups were subjected to mass murder. The concentration camps were administered by the SS, the Schutzstaffel, and expanded into a vast network across Nazi-occupied Europe. Many also served as forced labor camps, where prisoners were exploited to the point of exhaustion or death. What was the structure of Auschwitz? Auschwitz-Birkenau, in Nazi-occupied Poland, was the largest and deadliest concentration and extermination camp complex operated by the Third Reich during the Second World War. The Auschwitz complex consisted of three main camps: Auschwitz I, the original camp; Auschwitz II-Birkenau, the extermination camp; and Auschwitz III-Monowitz, a slave labor camp. Auschwitz I was established in 1940. It initially served as a concentration camp for Polish political prisoners, but later expanded to hold Soviet prisoners of war, Jews, and other persecuted groups. Auschwitz I became notorious for its brutal living conditions, forced labor, and medical experiments conducted by doctors such as Joseph Mengele. Auschwitz II-Birkenau, built in 1941, became the main site of mass extermination, equipped with gas chambers and crematoria. Birkenau was designed to carry out the final solution, the Nazi plan to commit genocide against Europe's Jews. Millions of people were deported to Auschwitz-Birkenau in overcrowded, unsanitary freight cars. Upon arrival, most were sent immediately to the gas chambers. Those selected for forced labor endured horrific conditions, and many died from starvation, disease, or exhaustion. Auschwitz III, Monowitz, was established in 1942 to provide forced labor for Nazi factories and industrial plants, including IG Farben's synthetic rubber and fuel plant. Monowitz prisoners labored under inhuman conditions, and many died from exhaustion and malnutrition. The impact of Auschwitz-Birkenau remains profound and enduring. An estimated 1,100,000 people were murdered in the complex, approximately 90% of them Jews. Other victims included Roma, Soviet prisoners of war, Poles, Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, and political dissidents. It was at Auschwitz that Maria Mandel, the subject of today's story, committed most of her atrocities. She is believed to have been directly responsible for the deaths of approximately 500,000 Jewish women, Roma women, and female political prisoners. But how did she get there? When and where was she born? That is where our story begins. The beginning of Maria Mandel's career. Born in Austria in 1912, Maria Mandel began her career as a prison guard in 1938 at Lichtenberg concentration camp in Saxony, one of the first camps established by the Nazi regime. She was among a group of 50 women selected to serve as guards. Lichtenberg initially served as a camp for women before larger and more notorious camps were established. In 1939, Mandel was transferred with other female guards and prisoners to the newly opened Ravensbrück concentration camp near Berlin. Ravensbrück quickly became the largest women's concentration camp in Nazi Germany, holding more than 130,000 women over the course of the war. There, Maria Mandel became known for her harsh and cruel conduct, attracting the attention of her superiors. Her efficiency and severity led to her promotion, and in July 1942, she attained the rank of SS Oberaufseherin, or Senior Overseer. In this role, Mandel was responsible for supervising daily prisoner roll calls, coordinating the guards' duties, and imposing severe punishments. These punishments often involved brutal methods, including whippings and beatings, reinforcing the atmosphere of terror inside the camp. Ravensbrück was not only a place of detention, but also a center of forced labor and medical experimentation. Prisoners endured inhuman conditions, exhausting labor, and cruel medical experiments carried out by Nazi doctors. Mandel's presence and strict supervision helped sustain this oppressive and deadly environment. Before we continue, we want to make sure you are still with us and enjoying the video. Comment with the phrase, "I want more stories." It takes only a moment and helps the video reach more people. You can also tell us which story from the Second World War you would like to see covered here. On October 7, 1942, Maria Mandel was transferred to the Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland, one of the Nazi regime's largest and deadliest extermination camp complexes. That same year, she was promoted again, this time to SS Lagerführerin, or camp leader, one of the highest positions in the concentration camp hierarchy, directly below Commandant Rudolf Höss. In this role, Mandel had absolute control over all the women's camps and subcamps at Auschwitz, wielding considerable power over both the prisoners and her subordinates. Maria Mandel's administration at Auschwitz was marked by extreme cruelty and rigid discipline. She oversaw selections among women arriving at the camp, deciding who would be sent to forced labor and who would go directly to the gas chambers. The prisoners feared Mandel for her brutality and her active role in implementing the Nazi regime's genocidal policies. During her time there, Mandel developed a close relationship with another notorious female SS guard, Irma Grese. Known for her sadism and brutality, Grese quickly rose through the ranks under Mandel's tutelage. Recognizing Grese's loyalty and cruelty, Mandel promoted her to supervise Hungarian Jewish prisoners at Auschwitz-Birkenau, the deadliest section of the Auschwitz complex, where hundreds of thousands of Jews were exterminated. Beyond her brutal administration, Maria Mandel was also involved in organizing and overseeing forced labor inside the camp. The women were subjected to inhumane conditions, working long hours under the constant threat of violence. Mandel also helped coordinate medical experiments on female prisoners, working with Nazi doctors who carried out cruel and inhumane procedures. Her presence at Auschwitz played a crucial role in perpetuating terror and oppression throughout the camp. Her ruthless efficiency embodied the Nazi leadership's expectations for the treatment of prisoners. The sadism of Maria Mandel. According to survivor testimony, one of Maria Mandel's favorite cruelties was to station herself strategically in front of the entrance gate at Birkenau. She watched the prisoners arriving, waiting for one of them to dare to look her directly in the eye. Anyone who did was immediately executed. At Auschwitz, Mandel earned the sinister nickname the Beast of Auschwitz for her brutality and sadism. During her 2 years at the camp, she was responsible for selecting female prisoners for the gas chambers and committing other atrocities. She would choose certain prisoners as her pets, temporarily sparing them from the gas chambers until she grew tired of them. Then they too were sent to their deaths. Witnesses reported that she took particular pleasure in selecting children for execution. One of Mandel's most notorious creations was the Auschwitz Women's Orchestra, made up of prisoners. The orchestra was forced to play during daily roll calls, executions, selections, and transports, providing a macabre soundtrack to the horrors of the camp. Maria Mandel signed orders sending approximately 500,000 women and children to the gas chambers at Auschwitz I and Auschwitz II. Her direct role in the genocide and in the terror inflicted on prisoners made her one of the cruelest figures in the history of the Nazi concentration camps. Mandel was also known for the extreme severity with which she controlled her subordinates and prisoners. She enforced a rigid hierarchy and punished any form of disobedience with relentless brutality. Her absolute power at Auschwitz extended to every aspect of life in the camp, from forced labor conditions to the implementation of extermination policies, the final chapter in Maria Mandel's life. In November 1944, Maria Mandel was transferred to the Mühldorf subcamp, part of the Dachau complex. She remained there until May 1945, when the approaching Allied forces prompted her to flee. She escaped through the mountains of southern Bavaria and took refuge in her hometown of Münzkirchen, Austria. Her freedom was short-lived. On August 10, 1945, Mandel was captured by American forces. Subsequent interrogations revealed both her intelligence and the dedication with which she had carried out her duties in the concentration camps. Accounts of her cruelty and efficiency as an SS guard left no doubt about her role in the atrocities committed there. After her capture, Mandel was handed over to the Polish authorities. In November 1947, after 2 years in Allied custody, she went on trial for crimes against humanity before a court in Krakow. Detailed testimony was presented about her direct involvement in acts of extreme cruelty and genocide at Auschwitz and other camps. The court found her guilty and sentenced her to death. Maria Mandel was executed on January 24, 1948, at the age of just 36. She was hanged, bringing the life of one of the most infamous figures in the Nazi concentration camp hierarchy to an end. For many who had suffered under her command, her trial and execution became a symbol of justice. They also underscored the importance of holding accountable those who had actively participated in the atrocities of the Holocaust. Maria Mandel was not the only female guard at Auschwitz. One of the most prominent women in the SS Guard force was Irma Gries. Born in Germany on October 7, 1923, Gries joined the SS in 1938 at the age of 15. She quickly rose through the concentration camp hierarchy during the Second World War. Like Maria Mandel, Irma Gries served at Auschwitz-Birkenau, the Nazis' principal extermination camp. Her cruelty and brutality were notorious among the female prisoners. She became known as the Bitch of Belsen because of her sadistic and inhumane treatment of those in her custody. Gries performed various duties at the camp, including supervising prisoners, taking part in selections for the gas chambers, and carrying out brutal orders from Nazi officers. She also played an active role in the physical and psychological abuse of prisoners. Her involvement in the horrors of Auschwitz went far beyond guarding and supervising prisoners. Gries was known for her extreme cruelty and sadism, frequently abusing and torturing those in her custody in horrific ways. After the war, Allied forces captured Irma Gries. She was tried for war crimes at the Belsen trial, sentenced to death, and hanged on December 13, 1945, at the age of 22. The life and actions of Irma Gries highlight the role women played in the atrocities committed in Nazi concentration camps during the Holocaust. Her brutality and cruelty remain a grim reminder of the depths of the Nazi regime's inhumanity and the terrible consequences of hatred and intolerance. How many people died in the Holocaust? The Nazis' systematic persecution and atrocities became known as the Holocaust. Approximately 6 million Jews were murdered. As mentioned earlier, the Nazis also persecuted and murdered members of many other minorities and groups. These included around 1.8 to 2 million non-Jewish Poles, between 200,000 and 500,000 Roma, approximately 250,000 people with physical and mental disabilities, between 2,000 and 5,000 Jehovah's Witnesses, around 70,000 political dissidents, trade unionists, and activists, and thousands of homosexuals. In total, An estimated 11 million people died as a direct result of the Nazi regime's genocidal policies during the Holocaust. So, what did you think of today's video? Had you heard the story of the Beast of Auschwitz before? Let us know in the comments. That brings us to the end of another video. Don't forget to show your support by clicking the like button and subscribing below. It helps us know we're on the right track. Now, check out the recommended video on your screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.